My girlfriend and I are huge fans of ghost tours. Every time we go on vacation, we make a point to find one. Honestly, most of the time, they're pretty cheesy, but that's what we like about them. It's a chance to laugh, to roll our eyes at the drama, and to hear the over-the-top haunted history of whichever city we happen to be in. We've done ghost tours in Boston, Salem, Savannah, Texas, New York. Seriously, we've been all over the US, and never once did we feel even remotely spooked. It's like a tradition at this point. Some person dragging you around, telling you all these stories, and trying to convince you the place is haunted. They always tell you to take pictures and feel the energy. But it's never anything more than just another tourist trap. That is, until we went to Key West. Key West, from what I gathered, has a huge haunted history. The place is riddled with stories about pirates, old sailors, lost souls, and ghostly apparitions. So, of course, when we were there, we had to sign up for a tour. After all, it's tradition, right? What could possibly go wrong? The tour started like every other one. A young woman in her 20s, probably a college student if I'm being honest, led us around the city, telling us about the infamous Robert the Doll, an old graveyard and a haunted bar or two. We were laughing through most of it. The stories were your typical ghost tour stuff. People getting scared by a few creaky doors and shadowy figures. We didn't take it seriously. We never did. But then we arrived at the Pirate Museum. That's when everything changed. When we walked into the museum, something hit me almost instantly. A sharp, gut-wrenching feeling like my body was being pulled into a dark place. I'm not sure how to explain it, but it felt like everything inside of me was suddenly very wrong. My stomach twisted, and I felt like I might throw up. I tried to shake it off, thinking maybe I was just tired or hungry. But deep down, I knew something was different. I brushed it off though. I've had queasy moments before. But this wasn't normal. Not like anything I'd ever felt. The tour guide started her spiel, talking about pirates who had died gruesome deaths, the strange happenings in the museum, and all the folklore surrounding it. It was the same kind of thing I'd heard before. Nothing new. But for some reason, my body couldn't seem to shake. This heavy, suffocating feeling. Then it got worse. My head started to throb. The pressure in my skull was unbearable, like a vice was tightening around my brain. I grabbed my fiancé's arm, trying to steady myself. I thought I might faint right there in front of everyone. She looked at me, eyes wide, and asked if I was okay. I wanted to say something, to tell her what was happening, but when I tried to speak, the words wouldn't come out. My throat felt tight, like something invisible was pressing against it, making it almost impossible to breathe. I nodded, hoping she wouldn't notice, but she did. Her face was filled with concern. "Are you sure?" she asked, but I just nodded again, trying to play it off. I didn't want to look stupid in front of the other tourists. We moved into another room. The air grew colder, the darkness deeper. I could barely stand, my legs shaking beneath me. It felt like the ground was moving, like the entire building was trembling. I couldn't focus on the guide anymore, couldn't listen to her voice as she went on about the ghostly presences in the room. The nausea was unbearable now, my stomach rolling with each step. The buzzing in my ears grew louder, and my eyes started to sting, like they were filled with sand. I was sure I was about to pass out. It was all I could do to keep from collapsing. Then I saw it. In the corner of the room, just beyond the shadows, there was something. At first, I thought it was just my eyes playing tricks on me. But no, it was real. It was as real as the blood in my veins. And it terrified me like nothing I'd ever felt before. It was a figure, a shape, standing motionless in the corner, black as ink. No face, no eyes, just an absence of light, like a hole in the air. It didn't move, didn't speak. It was just there, watching us. I froze. My heart stopped. My breath caught in my throat. I wanted to scream, to run, but I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. It was like the world had stopped, and all that was left in it was that thing. This thing that wasn't supposed to exist. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. My mouth opened, and no sound reached the air. It felt like I was suffocating, drowning in this unnatural silence. And then, just as quickly as I'd seen it, the figure vanished. I blinked, and it was gone. 1 second, it was there, and the next, nothing. My knees gave way, and I collapsed into my fiancée, clutching her with everything I had. I felt like I might explode into a million pieces. My whole body was shaking, and my chest burned with the need for air. "Let's go," I gasped, voice trembling. "I need to get out of here." My fiancé helped me to my feet, but she looked at me with confusion and concern. "What's going on? What's wrong with you?" I don't know," I stammered, feeling the cold sweat slick on my skin. I don't feel right. We need to leave. Now." We rushed out of the room, through the hallways, out into the bright lights of the street. The cold night air hit my face, and I gasped, as if I had just been freed from a suffocating nightmare. My legs wobbled beneath me, and I had to lean on my fiancé for support. I didn't know if I could stand on my own anymore. When we were finally outside, I felt the sick feeling begin to ebb away. My breathing slowed, my pulse steadied. I was outside now, where it was safe, or so I thought. But something lingered in my chest, a tightness, an unshakable dread that refused to leave me. The feeling was gone, but I couldn't shake the memory of what I'd seen, or what I'd seen, what had been watching us. That night, I went to bed to rest. The dreams that followed were horrific. I saw that figure again. It was always there, standing just beyond my reach, in the dark corners of my room. It followed me through the streets, through my waking hours, always lurking, always waiting. I couldn't escape it. My fiancé made fun of me, of course. "You're just making it up," she'd tease. "You're probably just tired." But I knew what I'd felt. I knew what I'd seen. It wasn't just a nightmare. It wasn't just my imagination. thing was real. For weeks after we got home, I couldn't shake the feeling. The nightmares persisted, and I found myself looking over my shoulder at odd hours, convinced that something was following me. My fiancé told me to get over it, but I couldn't. There are places in this world that leave a mark on you. Key West is one of those places, and I'll never forget what happened there. I'll never forget what I saw, or what wasn't there when it vanished. It's been a long time since we went to that museum, but every once in a while, I'll wake up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, and hear a buzzing in my ears. I'll feel that oppressive weight in my chest again, that suffocating sense of dread. And when I open my eyes, I can't help but wonder if it is still out there, watching.